So, I so as you know, yesterday I got fired, and I didn't care yesterday, and then I went to bed and I couldn't go to sleep, and then I suddenly cared all at once, and it was such a revealing. I don't know what it was. I had so many different things going on. I thought I had this issue even before this whole firing thing with. I did a video about it called "Today I Lost a Friend" with an individual I had an issue with, and my issue stemmed from their inability to communicate and how I felt about that, and then just how I imploded. So there was that, and then I think just overall, I think it all started before I even left Wisconsin, where I had decided to confess some sort of mental gymnastic thing to somebody who didn't deserve it, didn't need it, and it was unnecessary. I don't. Um, it was dumb. It was just such a dumb thing to do. And I think since then I've hated myself for it because I was like, if I'm really, really rethinking about it, I felt this person didn't respect me as an individual. And so then, if you really think about it, and as somebody who tries to think logically about things, why would you then give somebody a positive reinforcing letter, even though you felt like they were disrespectful towards you the entire time that they've known you? I don't know why I would do that. I could chalk it up to a disability, or I could just chalk it up to being a human being. I can chalk it up to both of them. And I guess it's both okay to chalk it up to that. I don't know. And so ever since that happened, it's just been a downhill spiral. And that was 3 years ago, actually. It was 3 years ago. I left literally that Friday, because that happened on what, Tuesday or some shit? And uh, I don't know. I got to Philadelphia, and I was like, oh, I'm doing this on my own now. I'm doing it. I've been on my own for a very long time. But this time I'm like, I'm doing the thing that I wanted. Not that I. If I'm being really honest, which I can be honest or lie about it all I want, I chose this place not because I wanted to be here. I chose my degree, social work, as a last resort because I had no idea what I was going to do after I graduated. I was literally 2 months from graduation in undergrad, and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And I wasn't putting it off. I just really wasn't thinking about it. And then suddenly I'm sitting in the kitchen and I'm just like, what is happening? I'm out of here in 2 months, and I need to, maybe not 2 months, but like it was sometime during before the final winter break I had at that school. And it was just I need to do something, and I was like, oh, social work, that's the thing. And so I was like, I looked into programs, and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply to these four programs. I applied to the one in Wisconsin, I applied to one in Boston, I applied to this one in Philadelphia, and then I applied to one in Maryland. I got rejected from every single one. That's not true. I was accepted into two, the two most expensive ones here in Boston, and I was rejected from the other two, Wisconsin and Maryland. Maryland, I was rejected from because I took way too long to get my application things in. Just took way too damn long. If I were to actually just redo it and actually think about it for a minute, I think I probably still would have done social work. I think I would have done social work at U Chicago though instead of Penn. Um, I anyway, I got here. It was okay, and then I had a spasm in my brain, and I asked two embarrassing questions to two different people, but who all hang out in the same square of people or whatever, the same clique. And that was just a mess. A there was multiple apologies on my part, and there was just it was as if 9/11 had happened again, and you were just like, what is happening? What's going on? There's no answer. and then you never get an answer, and then you come back to it years later and you're like, oh well, there is an answer to this, but it's too late now. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that. And those are over. That happened 2 years ago now. A year ago, 2 years ago. Now I'm here doing this. I had two internships. I had an issue with the first one, and the issue was more I don't know. I don't. I'm not a normal person. I don't do the normal things that people who end up in grad school do, and I think the most people. This is a side note, but people who end up in these sorts of positions in education are normal people in a sense that they have normally two parents, two income household parents. They got a halfway decent family. Like, they have family around them. They come from money. Some of them come from a lot of money. Some of them just come from a middle class, high middle class background. Like, they have a leg up on society that those who do not end up in master's programs do not. And I didn't. I came from the exact opposite from what they came from. In fact, my story was a winding, unrelentingly annoying story to tell. I can't believe I've explained the story so many times to so many different people. So dumb. So dumb. But it's annoying. It's annoying to talk about. It's just overall annoying. And so I think that I'm just kind of, I don't know. I felt like I needed to, I don't know if I ever felt like I needed to do anything. It was just annoying. It's just you notice things about people in the program and people about all these other things, and that I have this sort of, what is that thing that they call the fucking imposter syndrome thing? I don't think I had that. I was just more like I notice things. I really do know. I sit back and I watch and I listen. I'm kind of like the fly on the wall, and like, people don't think I listen or care or whatever, but I notice. I'm very, what is that? There's like a term, like, where you're not just noticing things. You're particular. You pay attention to detail. I don't know. I pay attention to detail. I just don't pay attention to detail in what I do. I pay attention to detail into how others act and what they do. And I can pay attention to detail what I do. I just don't do that. And it's not because I don't want to. I think I try, but due to my debilitating brain, it becomes it becomes more enjoyable to do it to other people than it does to do it for yourself. Anyway. Oh yeah, so there was the internship thing, and then I had a new internship, and that one was okay. That was fun, kind of. And then I don't know, I was unable to assert my dominance in a three-team team, and not really, it wasn't really because I've always been, I think, for me in my life, I think one of my things is, if someone I feel like is a little bit more open, even if I'm not talking to them, I'm more willing to actually kind of put myself forward in that way of, like, actually, maybe not asserting myself, but like expressing how I feel or what I'm thinking or all this other stuff. But where, if I feel like this person is, I don't know, reserved or just kind of a dick, or just a complete bitch, I don't. And it goes for anybody. Like, with the most recent, with my firing at work, there was a person at work who I was just like, this person is awkward, and this person acts awkward around me. I don't know you. I just got hired. Like, what's your problem? But yeah, I say, I don't know. Problem. So that ended, and then I graduated, and then I couldn't find a job. But even before I graduated at the same damn school, it was just this whole headache of me being a weird, not weird. I was being a normal person, trying to be a normal person, mimicking what a normal person does, except allowing the, what is it? If you're mimicking something, then allowing your true self to leak through. or just, I don't know. And then that was a huge issue. The only positive that came out of this entire thing was my willingness for myself to figure things out. Um, because thinking about everything, I ended up going to like I for the first time in my adult life, I think from what I can remember, I went to a psychiatrist, and that was fun. That was kind of nice. It was a nice little. I was just kind of like, you know, I've had these patterns in life, and it's just been like you can't really have those same patterns into adulthood. Like, you can have those patterns in school, you can have those patterns in as a child, but like if you have that same pattern as an adult, prison's not fun. And I'm not saying that my patterns would have gotten me in prison, but I don't think that they would have gotten me. I think they would have held me back in a way that would have stunted my ability to move forward in life, even without an education. Anyway, so that was good. I got all that stuff figured out, and then I screwed up with another thing that I had to do in relation to my psychiatry, and it was like, oh my god, why did I just do that? What the fuck's going on? So I wasn't able to get the thing that I needed, and it was just like I got the I still need the thing, but because Philadelphia is just a terrible city, and it's operated and its operations is terrible. It's just a bad city. It's just really bad. And honestly, I think all cities are bad. Like, everybody's like, oh, this city's worse than every city's terrible. Every major metropolitan city's terrible. None of them are good. I don't care if they're red or blue. They're all terrible. None of them deserve any sort of credence or respect because they're all terrible. What is this? Okay, that's nothing. But yeah, so now I have to wait until next year to get what I need, and hopefully that turns out well. But for now, I'm currently suffering in my consequence of fucking up the test. I don't know how to put it. I was taking a test for ADHD, and I, for some reason, decided to. I was getting annoyed overall, and I was just like, you know what, fuck this. So I decided to kind of sway back and forth. I think partly to like it was this, I didn't want to be in the room. It was like boring. You have to like click a button or something. I don't know, like a ball. Like, I don't know. It was retarded. I was bored and I couldn't do anything else. And I think some of it was like I was trying to like mentally fish for a diagnosis, but I also know that I didn't really need to do that. For some reason, I was just like, oh, maybe they won't believe me even if I get the test, so I need to act like I actually really, like that sort of thing. Um, which then fucked up the test and I didn't get the result I needed. Um, and so that was dumb. But now I have to restart all over again, and I have to wait a year, and I think I have an appointment scheduled for February. So we'll see how that works. It's just been like that. That's what it's been like. It's been like that. It's been like that. And I don't know. Actually, I do know. It can get better. I think. Most times. I don't know. But I think it's annoying. All of it is annoying. I'm annoyed. I don't. When I say it can get better, that's just in the metaphysical universe of things can get better, and that's for anything. Things can get better after 9/11. Things can get better after a murder. Things can get better after stepping on a bug, and I don't know, but it's just, I don't know, like this whole. I hate this too. This whole, like, in football, there's this thing called adversity. I don't know what any of that shit even means anymore. I think they just say that because it's a nice little buzzword to act like this fucking 21-year-old kid who is not good at anything but football can say that he knows a big word, which is adversity, even though he probably doesn't really know what it means. And it's like this. I think continuously about, maybe not continuously, sometimes I think about it's a fun little thought experiment to put myself or to look at myself through the lens of me, but on the outer rim of society. So this is me, this is the earth that I'm on, and this is me looking at me through the lens of whatever the fuck that meant. And so I compare myself, not really compare it, but I do look at myself through the lens of how other people around me grew up and how they survived and whatever and all those other things. And some would say that how I ended up here is a fucking miracle. Some would say that it was pretty normal, and I would say I don't know. I think uh um I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Um I think part of it is actually I don't know what the part of it is. I have no idea. I hate everybody. I think. I think I do. I think I hate everybody. I think the people I know I hate. I think the people I don't know I hate. It's just annoying. It's annoying. It's very annoying. It's annoying to be around people who are not as good as me. I don't mean that in the sense of like I'm better than them. I mean that in the sense of I think about people in a different way than people think about me, and I think that annoys me because I feel like I try a little bit harder, if not a lot harder, to make a connection and or just try to make someone feel like something positive or whatever, and I feel like those who I'm surrounded by do not do that for me, and so I think that that is an annoying thing to deal with, and I that's it. That's all I got. And I think that's part of the reason why I always had this kind of idea of like, don't try, stop trying. Trying is really dumb. But then other people are like, no, continue to try. But it's also like, but you're not trying. So this idea of telling somebody to continue trying, even though you're probably not trying, is very weird. And to continue telling somebody that it gets better, even though you're not in that position of it can get better. I don't know. I have no idea. It's dumb. This is weird. I think. What do I think? I don't know what I think. I think that this video was going on for very long, and I think I'm okay with that. I think that oh, God, this is annoying. I think if I would have put things in words that make sense. This feels so weird. I think that I feel. What do I feel? That's a great question. What do you feel, child? I. No, I forgot. I was gonna say something. Oh, I feel. You know how annoying this is? This is. If you've ever not done this, I think that it would be something that you should try at least once in your life and then see what happens to you. I feel like I am, as 3 Days of Grace puts it, on my own. And I think I've been for that like for a very, 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 very kind of since childhood. I think, like realistically speaking, just kind of being an adult, going to college, seeing how kids get along with their parents, even if their parents are divorced, like the parents at least pretend to like each other when the kid goes to college or whatever the fuck. Like, like this past weekend, it was parents' weekend at Drexel, and like I'm working at the grocery store, and like there's this hot chick that comes in. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like why are you getting all this fucking alcohol? You alcoholic? And she's like, it's parents' weekend. You got to provide for the parents, and I'm like, I guess, but they're the ones with money, bro. Anyway, fuck was I saying? Hot chick, alcohol, beer, parents. And I was like kind of thinking about like, damn, I didn't do that. And while people are like, well, not a lot of people did do that. I think a majority of the people who did in college did do that. Unless your parents were dead. I just thought that was funny. And like, sure, it was my fault that I ended up going to universities that were away from home, but like, I don't know. And like, granted, it's not my fault that my mother is old as shit and has always been old as fuck. But like, it's I don't know. It's just something that's it's I don't know. You kind of think about it when you put things in perspective of like what your life is, what it could be, what it is now, what others around you are doing, and all this other stuff, and it's just like, what the fuck is this? But anywho, that was something that was annoying me. Of just like, damn, that sucks. Uh, so I think overall I feel lost. I feel like I don't know what's going on. I feel annoyed. And I don't know if this is all compounded because of the firing. For some reason, even now, I'm ups. Am I upset? I think I'm upset. I'm upset. Um, and I think I'm upset because when I think about these things, my mind races into thinking all these different. Like, when you don't give me an answer to something that I think deserves an answer, like, obviously people think about those sorts of things. But I think most people get over it. I don't. I have this burning itch to figure out what the fuck, like, figuring out a reason. Because there's always a reason to something. You don't just do something. 9/11 didn't just happen. Someone didn't just get murdered. Like, this is not, like, things just, the only things that happen is somebody being stupid and walking out in traffic and getting hit by a car and dying. Like, those are the things that happen. But even then, those things don't just happen. Like, what the fuck was I even talking about? Things happening, being unhappy. Fuck. This is another, oh yeah, mind racing. Yeah, okay, yeah. So, like, things are, they're just going, and you're just like, what the fuck is going, what is this shit? What is going on, man? And so you're just like, I don't know what to do. And so now I'm kind of at that point of like not knowing what to do. So I had this. So I called my mother after the firing, and like the best I got in terms of support was file for unemployment and welcome to adulthood. And I think, just as a human being on planet Earth, granted, even though I think I just expected a little bit more. Um, I think that I expect a little bit more out of the whole unit of family, but I don't think that we're a family unit in the normal sense of being a family unit. I think we are two separate entities who live together, who one was raising the other, one was attempting to raise the other, one was not understanding why one who was being raised was not being perceptive to the way they were being raised, and then that was a whole nother. I don't know. When it rains, it pours. Apparently, I didn't know that. I just thought it rained. But then again, living in Florida, you should know that. Yeah, it's just it's. I don't know. I think what I'm asking for and what I'm metaphysically pleading for is some sort of support system that I don't think I'm ever going to find here in Philadelphia. And I think that's kind of obvious. And I think that's kind of obvious even as an adult. Because when you're an adult, the whole point of college is to essentially find what you want to do and what you want to hang out with and like all this other dumb shit, right? And I did all that stuff. I went to the whole college thing and all that other stuff. And I'm not like the other people who complain about loans. I don't care about loans. I don't like. I don't care. Like it's gonna get paid off one way or another. Like genuinely, it's going to. Whether it's I die, whether it's I get a job, whether it's a president decides that he's gonna break the law and go against the Supreme Court and wipe off everybody's debt. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out. It's gonna be figured out. That's how life works. Things eventually get figured out, even though if it feels like it's not going to get figured out, it's going to get figured out. So in that sense, I'm not even worried about that shit. I wanted to go to college because I worked dead-end jobs my entire college career And I realized that if I didn't finish college, that's where I was going to stay. I was going to stay at McDonald's, the gas station, Arby's, Wendy's. Like, I was going to stay there. I wasn't going to move forward. I didn't have any friends to help me out. I didn't have any workplaces to help me out. Society functions as a young adult on having a degree, and or if you don't have one, you better have a support system. The people I did know who maybe would have helped me out were either stoners or losers, and so it was just like, this is not going to be very good. And the other people that weren't stoners or losers were people that were just okay with being where they were. And I'm somebody who was like, move around a bit, do something. Don't just stay where you are. But realizing now that if you stay in the same small town you were raised in, you at least have a form of stability in knowing who you are, what you were, how you grew up, and all this other dumbass shit. And the downside is that you have such a small mind that you think that you're insulated from things, versus if you're somebody who's like me, who's like, you know what, I don't want to stay in one place forever, so you just kind of hop around. You hop around, you see a bunch of experiences, you learn a bunch of shit that nobody cares about. You take in all these experiences and all this other shit and all this other gay-ass, retarded fucking shit, and then you kind of... The downside is that you are a human that has no central staying power anywhere. You have to find that at some point. And I think that's where I'm at. I think now that I've been fired, I'm not super worried about rent because my supervisor, my landlady is probably my best friend right now in terms of somebody who's looking out for me in even the slightest of ways, because I now have to go back to a grocery store job that pays me $13.85 an hour, only gives me 2 days a week, and will only call me in if they really need help. Now, luckily, it's a poorly managed grocery store. It's not poorly managed. The people they hire are poor people who don't care that much. And not even everybody there is poor. It's that the people, the auxiliary people, because there are the main people that work there, like the core team, and then there's like the auxiliary people that work these odd shifts, and like those people can't be counted on, you know? So it's just like, I'm one of the people that's just like, hey, I'm gonna eat whatever scraps they leave, and pick me. And so luckily the main core people are nice enough to understand that, to know that I'm a dependable person, even though a lot of people don't seem to think so. So, and that's another weird thing of like, yeah, I say a lot of jokes because I do that personally. I think A, it's a coping mechanism, and B, life is just retarded. Like, it's so stupid. Like, I go to work with people at the grocery store who probably deep down want something different for their lives, but show up, sometimes in a bad mood, but still do the job. Show up. They do it because they have to, because they need to live, but then they at least can show up with a smile on their face, kind of, sometimes. It depends on the day. And, you know, like, the Fall Out Boy song, I Don't Care, I think that encompasses my life completely. I don't care as long as you think it's about me. And that's not entirely true, but I just don't care. And then the other thing is, you have to find happiness in misery, and that's what I do best, and that's what I've been doing best since forever. And now I continue to say I don't care, but that's not entirely true. I do care, but I don't care because I don't care about what I don't care about, but I don't care about what I don't care about, but I do care. I don't know if that made any sense, but it makes sense to me. So that's what that is. So there's that. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know. I'm lost. I feel like I'm not a nomad, because a nomad travels around. And the thing about being a nomad is you're not supposed to have things. I have things. Now, I don't have a lot of like cool things. The coolest things I have are probably those Pokemon cards, that beach ball that I found somewhere or something, and then I have a shit ton of books. That's it. Like, I'm not even like since I've been here, I've accumulated so many books to the point where I think I could have a library in and of itself. Like my entire dresser filled with books. This is books. These are books. They're comic books over there. It's just, there are books in there. Are there any other books? I don't think so. But this is everywhere. They're everywhere. Like, I have nothing else in here. I have nothing. I have nothing but books, my 2 iPods, and my phone that is completely broken right now because I can't use the screen because I dropped it. I have books and movies. And you know what the sad thing is? I can't focus enough for long enough to read any of the fucking books. So I have all these books that I read for like maybe a random 2 or 3 pages, and then I'm like, okay, on to something else. And that's just annoying as fuck. And you know what's even worse? When I was in undergrad, I wanted to go to the law schools of law schools because I wanted to be an immigration, family, or environmental lawyer. That's what I wanted to be, right? And I studied a lot, actually. And it was hard to study, not because the content was hard, even though it is pretty difficult, but I was studying with an unhealthy body. So my blood sugars were just all over the place. So like I would attempt to study and then my blood sugar would be really high. And if you have diabetes, your blood sugar is really high, you get high, like mentally in your brain, and so you have to fall asleep. Not good. So I was always trying to overcompensate for low blood sugar and then overcompensating for high blood sugar. So it was just like I couldn't really be in a... I did not have a stable brain, body, health to like actually be somebody who could sit there and study for something that I really wanted to do. And then on top of that, just the racing mind of just unimaginable hell that is just absolutely god awful. If I had schizophrenia, I would have killed myself because holy fuck, I can't do it. I cannot do it. It's insane. It was so insane, in fact, that while I decided to do a practice test for the LSAT, I was like, hey, I knew somebody who had ADHD, and I was like, yo, let me buy one of those Adderalls off of you. And I just kind of wanted to see what it was, and I wasn't doing it because I wanted to, I wanted to do it because I wanted to focus, but I also wanted to do it because at that point in time, I wasn't diagnosed with anything because I didn't do any, I didn't have the, I was going to say not the support system, which is true, but I just didn't happen. Anyway, it happened here in Philadelphia where I was able to actually get the words put onto why I'm this way, and it was like, okay, well, that makes sense. So, back to undergrad, I did that, I took a practice test, and it was a life-changing experience. It was, so first of all, I got like 15 points higher on it than what I was originally scoring. So that was already like a, what the fuck? 2, on it, I can't remember if this was before or after, but I like felt, so after it, I felt really sad. And I felt sad not because of, anything. I felt sad because it was like, if I was, back in my day, if things were the way that they are now for when I was a child, when it comes to all this retarded mental health shit, and it's not retarded, it's actually really necessary, I would have been able to go to college right out of high school, and I would have been a normal child rather than what I see as going to a middle high school or an extra high school, and I don't know. Sure, maybe the experiences there were able to catapult me into where I am now. I don't know. But I think a lot of what my life was would not have been what it was if I was in a community, family, or whatever, or just societally in a place that was educated. I don't know. And I think it rings weird to when I'm talking to other people and like they're talking about how they were diagnosed, all this other shit, and I'm just like, oh wow. So it's not like this stuff was new. I don't. It was just a whole. It's. I don't know. I don't know. But anywho, we're back to where I'm at now. I'm here, fired. Still have a job though. I applied for unemployment, which honestly was something I thought I would never do. Not that I'm against it, but just like, I don't know. I don't know. Anywho, applied for unemployment. If I'm being honest with you, ChatGPT helped me along the way, because there was literally no clear help in regards to what the fuck was going on. And if society really wants people to back away from AI, I think one of the best ways to back away from AI is to find ways to support people who would rather rely, who would be susceptible to relying on AI. There, that's what I would wanted to say. Who the fuck is calling me? Leave me alone, you stupid bastards. Speaking of, I can't actually listen to my voicemails because my phone doesn't work. What day is it? Tuesday? That's not good. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But with these thoughts that were racing last night and the annoyance and the, I dare to say, downright anger that was just fuming through my veins, my 5'7" body veins, I had come to the conclusion that I have a shot. I have a shot at a lot of things. And it's not it's a very non-conventional thing that I feel like I have to do now, because I don't really have any other choice or support in doing it. Um, and I guess the positive of me even having that job that I just got fired from in the first place, was I had a coworker who had done a job in California where essentially you're off the grid, but you get to pay, but you live there. You do the job. You pay $75 a week to live there, but due to the amount of hours you get, you're getting hella money. And so what he said was like he and his girlfriend were pulling in $6K a month from that job, and then they did it for like a year. They pulled their money together, and then they traveled the world. What? Um, and I think I might do that. I think I'm out of options in terms of what I'm doing in life. I think I'm done. I think being a social worker is annoying, or even attempting to be one is annoying. And I don't know if it's because I'm a dude, because I don't think most women feel this way. Because if you don't know, this field is like 90 some odd percent women. Because, well, I can get into why in a minute, but we're not gonna do that today. And it's also just awkward to hear people be like, "We need more male social workers. We need more black male social workers." And I don't know. It's just awkward. It's just weird. It's just like you say you want something, and then every time I go towards something that would be where I don't know. I don't know. Overall, I feel like this field is not for me. And while you can say, well, you picked the field out of a hat, you're right, I did. But I also picked a field that that I wasn't foreign to. Like I know what a social worker is, I know what they do. I've been around them. This is theoretically it should have been really easy for me to like figure out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. And I did have an idea of what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. I wanted to work with kids, foster kids, because foster kids are, I don't know. I think you can turn them into. They're like mutants. If you ever watch X-Men, X-Men has this thing where the House of X or some shit, the House of Xavier, he takes in mutants and he allows them to use their abilities and allows them to be themselves. Now, if you're anybody who's actually into history, that whole story of X-Men is kind of based off the Jews. But you can apply it to a bunch of different disaffected minorities across planet Earth. But anyway, Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think that I have a clear idea what the fuck's going on. I think that I would have a clearer idea if I felt like I had a clearer um, system of people who also knew what the fuck they were doing. Because one of the issues is like you need a bunch of people around you who also know what they're doing and who don't like. For being honest with you, me, from being honest, I know people. People know me. We're not friends. We just know each other because we hung out. We were in the same class. All this other stuff. We don't text at all. We don't talk. We don't talk on the phone. We don't do any of this shit. What we do instead is nothing because we're not. We're in the same sphere. We're in the same realm, but we're not in the same room. And I need somebody or people who are going to be in the same room. And unfortunately, you would think you would get that with college, but it gets even harder with grad school if you do not know and if you're wondering, like, what the fuck is grad school like? Well, for one, everybody's married. If they're not married, they're in a serious relationship. If they're not in a serious relationship, they're gay. If they're not gay, then they're probably not in grad school. But there's that. And then yeah, that's kind of it. Because most people in grad school are kind of like in their career field, or they're going to train for their career field or something. I don't fucking know. And they all act like they know what's going on, and some of them do know what's going on. Like, listen, like, don't get me wrong. Like, a lot of them do know what the fuck's going on, but some of them don't know what the fuck's going on. So yeah, it's so if you come into this sort of area as a, I don't know, a loner bunny rabbit, you are going to either A, come out as a loner bunny rabbit because you are stupid, or you're going to come out as a, I don't know what a pot of bunny rabbits is. I'm going to call it a bundle. You're going to come out as a bundle or a pod. I don't fucking know what it is. You're going to come out with a bunch of other bunny rabbits and you're going to be okay. It's very weird, very odd. I think that I don't know, people I know, like the whole issue with the people with the friend lost thing, like I feel like that person still doesn't hear what I felt or whatever. Like I don't think how I did that whole, like what I had said, this is annoying and stupid. I don't think that person listened at all ever. I think that person used me or saw me as a charity case of some sort and saw me as like, this person needs a friend. And you know what? Funnily enough, I did. However, I think if you're going to say this person needs a friend, you also need to be a friend to that person. You also need to allow that person to be your friend. And I don't think that person allowed me to be their friend. I think they wanted me to be their friend. I think they wanted to be a friend to me, but not be a friend to them. I think that's how that went. I know we just went on a whole tangent that was not related to anything that we just spoke about, but if we're going to tie it back to anything, when I was talking about the whole lost a friend video, that I'm expanding on that even more because it still annoys and bothers me, but it's also just like, this is kind of how it is. This person, if I'm being honest, was not emotionally mature enough to even communicate the basic needs of things. Even though I asked, I felt like I was doing everything right in regards to what they wanted, and they still just fucked it all up and didn't do anything, and it was just like, what the fuck's going on? It was like, and then it just kind of reflected back on me personally, because I'm just like, I must be doing something wrong. Because if I can't get answers out of you of basic shit like what's your favorite book, I don't want to talk about that right now. Come on, man. What? What do you mean? Like, I don't fucking know, but I don't, those are just like annoying things that I was able to like explain to them, but they I don't know, I didn't get the response I wanted, even though I don't know what the response I wanted was. So there's that. Anywho, this person's always like, I don't say psychoanalyzing me. I think they're trying to help me in this self-discovery or whatever. But like, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can help me. I think you can like point things out and like I can take it in, but like I think it annoys me because it's like you want to do something for me, which I should be grateful for, but I'm upset. I'm upset because you are also being secretive about who you are, even though the rules and stipulations of our said friendship, based on what you say, was I need time, but I want to know more about you. I do that. 5 years later, I still get nothing, and I'm confused. But then I could argue, they could argue, that them calling me every day, maybe not every day, every other day, this last year during school was, it's, I'm not gonna lie, that was very nice. It was cool. It was great. It was wonderful to have somebody call you every day and like ask how you're doing, what's up, what's going on, and then have a back and forth about what's going on, rather than just saying like, "How are you? What are you doing?" Blah blah blah. Like, talk about yourself. I don't know. Um. Yeah, of course. And then the last thing. This isn't in regards to them. This is in regards to just people I know and like people I will the future people I will know about like what is it to be yourself and all this other dumbass shit. So I'm thinking, if I were to do a PhD thesis, my PhD thesis would be on Adderall. Is that who you are, or is it before? Like, who are you as a person if you're on Adderall and having ADHD? Are you the person who has ADHD? Is that your real self, or is it on Adderall where you're your real self? Because yes, you're more focused, you're more this, you're more that. You're like you're better able to communicate what you are, what you're doing, all this other shit. But you're also you're less of a nuisance as a human being. But does you being less of a nuisance of a human being take away from who you are as a person if you weren't on Adderall and were a nuisance? I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it makes sense. I think I'm a pretty decent explainer of things, even if I don't know what the fuck's going on. So that would be my PhD thesis, and I'm sure somebody's already done a thesis on this already, but I think the way I do it, the way I thought about it, would be fantastic. I spoke about this in a session with a very wonderful student therapist, and I spoke about. So I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's so cool. He's so great. He's amazing. And Spider-Man has a very famous and like one of his first villains that they have yet to even adapt to live action, which is disgusting, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I fully expect him to be within the realm of the third Spider-Man movie that's coming out next year. I fully expect him to be in it. I would be severely disappointed in Sony, Marvel, and whomever the fuck if they did not put this character in the movie in some way, some form, somehow, whatever. And that character is the Chameleon. If you don't know, is exactly what it sounds like. He's a man. He's not half man, half chameleon. He's just a normal ass man who puts on masks and all this other stuff to be someone else. And he does that to like screw with Peter's life and Spider-Man's life. Like there was a side note. When I was a kid, the Amazing Spider-Man show was a thing. And there was a huge marathon of it one day. And I sat there and I watched a shit ton of it. And this was around the time of Spider-Man 2 coming out. So, of course, everything on TV was Spider-Man related. But I used to be like, when the Chameleon was on, like there was an episode about Chameleon, all this other shit. And as a kid, I remember feeling like, oh my God, how is Spider-Man going to get out of this? Because this guy quite literally just took the identity of somebody else that Spider-Man knows, and he's ruining Spider-Man's life through this thing. And in my head, I'm just like, there's no way Spider-Man's going to get out of this. There's no way. What the fuck? And then suddenly, of course, he does. I'm just like, oh, wow. I don't know how that happened. Amazing. If somebody took control of my life like that, I don't know how the fuck I would even begin to explain, like, no, that wasn't me. And then as you continue to grow, as I continue to grow, I have come to the realization that while I am not the chameleon, there are a lot of things in my life that have happened that some people say that I did not do. And so if we were to tie them together in some sort of agrarian knot, I don't know. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Iguana? No. What the fuck's his name? Chameleon. Um, yes. I, as a human, so relating to what we just talked about in regards to who are you as a person on or off medication, the I feel like I have the ability to chameleonize. I don't fucking know, to turn into different things at different times around different people. I'm very good at this. I perfected this craft growing up. And it's something I'm very good at. I can play both sides, and I'm not really playing both sides. I'm more like looking at both sides, seeing who's saying what, why are they saying this, who are they saying this for, who's making them say this, why are they saying this, is what they're saying making sense, is this even need to be said, who are you, why are you doing this? And I'm doing that, right? And I'm very good at it, but I also feel like I've been doing that for so long that it's just like, I wouldn't say that I don't know anything about myself, but I would say that, oh boy, I would say that, what would I say? I would say that I've been doing it for so long. I'm doing it so long, what? That I don't know, it's easy? It's easier? I don't fucking know. I don't know what to say about this shit, right? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But I don't know. It's just easy to do it. I can do it. I want to continue to do it. It's cool. It's nice, but it's also just like, I don't know. I don't want to do it anymore. So there's that. Like yeah, I don't know. But anywho, is that all I wanted to talk about? I think that's maybe all I want to talk about. But anyway, so plans for the future. I've come up with some plans. Contingent plans. They're contingent based on some things. So, as a person who's now has an MSW, I need to get to the next level, which is a licensed social worker. Once I get that, okay, so in order to do that, I get my paycheck this Friday. I'm going to use the money from that paycheck to buy a course, which then helps you pass the LSW exam. I took the LSW exam already like 3 months ago, failed it. I only failed it by 10 questions, I think. Really? Yeah, I only failed it by 10 questions. Still disappointing, but, gay. Failed it. We're going to take it again, and I need to pass it this time because as an MSW graduate, you really can't get a real job as an MSW social work type person unless you have an MS or LSW. It's kind of like it's like you're just getting the introductory degree into just saying you have a degree as a master's level person in general. It's like a general master's degree. If you want to be a specialized individual with a master's degree, you need to specialize in something, and then you need to specialize in that thing being a licensed social worker. I could have had at least maybe like 3 or 4 jobs maybe offered to me if I had an LSW license, but because I didn't have one, I couldn't do those jobs. And those jobs would have paid me more amounts of money than what I was being paid for a month at Boys and Girls Club. So I need to do that. And my 3-month probation or whatever period is up in November, so I can retake it then. Around November, December, I can retake it. And once I do that, I need to pass it. So that's the big thing. I need to pass that test. Once I pass that test, I'm home free for a year, I think. Something like that. Anyway, you have an LSW. That means you can essentially have your LSW you can essentially be a licensed social work person at any state. You just need to do some things, but in general, you have a license. You got a license. You might have to like apply your license to another state for whatever state you want to move to, but that's easy once you have a license. Anyway, need to do that. Once I do that, I need to decide what I'm gonna do for money and the rest of my life. Turning a decade old each decade is, I think, can be a positive thing, but I think a lot of people make it a negative thing because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting older. And yeah, you're getting older, just like that. Oh my god. Fleetwood Mac song, Landslide. Love that song. If I were to kill myself, I'd kill myself to that song. Um, that song, like, you're getting older. That's what it is. That's what life is. I have this weird obsession with looking young. I think I'm doing a pretty good job, I'd say. But yeah, you're gonna get older. You're gonna die. That's it. But for now, I'm going to focus as if I'm going to have a halfway decent, not shitty, terrible personal people life. So once I pass it, as I stated way earlier in the video, there's a possibility to work at a place and essentially just live off the grid, get paid a shit ton of money, save that money, and then do whatever you want afterwards. I, as a human being, barring that I don't get blamed for anything, or barring that I'm not seen as just a pariah, even in the sense of just me showing up at any place, I am going to apply there. I think if I don't have a job, well, actually, yeah, I think no, I think once I get the LSW license, I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go do that job. I think I'm going to go do that job, and I'm going to kind of just, I could use it as a reset, they say. But I think I'm going to cut myself off from this whole field of work that is social work, because I don't think currently I am built for it. And not that I'm not good at it, I just don't think that this is, I don't know, maybe I'm not good at it, and maybe that there's an expectation, if I'm being a snot-nosed brat, or just a, maybe not a snot-nosed brat, not even that, just seeing an overanalyzer, as I do overanalyze everything because I love analyzing things. I think in society, people have images of what they think something should be. So when they say they need more black men in social work, I think they have an idea of what a black man is in that field. I don't fit that narrative. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like, but I know I don't fit it. Because if I did, I feel like there would be more of a welcoming, I wouldn't feel so, maybe it's because of my whole thing, but like, I think there's just something about it that just doesn't, that feels off about when people say they need more of this. There is that thing right there in front of you, but for some reason that thing doesn't meet the qualifications of what you just said that you needed, which is me, and then that. And I don't, you'd think in the time of Donald Trump that they just kind of pick up anybody at any point. It's kind of like being in the military after 9/11. Like, they'll just sign you up. They don't give a fuck. But, man, maybe this is really because I don't have an LSW license. I think maybe that's really the biggest issue, probably. I think it actually really is. But even so, it's just like, I don't know. But anywho, if nothing changes in between me hopefully passing and getting my license and like the end of the year, I think I'm going to take that next step into moving. And if I'm able to, I'm going to keep all my shit in this room. I'm going to be one of those squatters. I'm going to live here, have my shit here, but work somewhere else. Because you can't find it. I can't find a job here. I had one that paid me $2,000 a month. I got fired for no reason, and hopefully I find out the reason once I get my unemployment insurance type thing back. But we'll see. So yeah, I can't find like even like a real shitty job I couldn't find. I lucked into my grocery store job because I wasn't listening. No, because I forgot what was said. So backtrack. My second internship, we do house visits. One of the house visits was on like a Tuesday or some shit, and we were told to meet at one place, and I decided to meet at another place because I thought, isn't that what they just said? We're gonna meet over here, whatever. The place I met at, where I was standing at, was a grocery store called Giant, and they were hiring. I was like, holy shit, I need a job real bad. So I go in, I'm like, hi, are you guys hiring? They're like, yeah. I was like, can I please have a job here? And they're like, sure, just fill out the application online, and then we'll get back to you. I was like, okay, great. I did that as soon as I got home. I came back the next day, all this other shit. I essentially got the job. If I was, if I wasn't retarded, I wouldn't have gotten the job. I know that sounds really counterintuitive, but I guess it pays off to not to have your brain not be connected the same way everyone else is. I don't know. So I got real lucky in that sense. I don't know. So that was cool, kind of. And the other thing, what's the other thing? Um, yeah, that's it. That's it. Is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, I think I will update. I will do an update when I hopefully at some point. Um, and due to me losing my job, that also means that I cannot go home for Thanksgiving and or Christmas. Granted, I was not going to go home for Christmas. My plan was to go home to somewhere else for Christmas, but seemingly that's not happening either, because it takes money. Well, actually, if I can scrounge up $300, I can theoretically make it happen. But when I'm there, I won't be able to have anything. So I won't be able to do anything because I won't have any money because I will spend all my money on the flight from there and back. So I don't know. Don't have any money. Really don't have any money. The grocery store job is not going to be enough to supplement any sort of trip back home. And I'm used to it, I should say. Like I didn't go home all of undergrad. Like I I went to Alabama for 2 years because my friend was like, yeah, like your friend, yeah. He was like, hey, you should come home to me to Alabama. And I was like, if you can't go home to where you live. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. So I did that for 2 years, and that was great, and I loved it. And it was able, and that's also kind of when I started to think about how my life turned out versus how everyone's life's turned out. And and this is not to say that I am jealous of this person's life. It is more to say that this is what life could have been if, I don't know. Honestly, if I weren't black, I think that's really what it is. Like that's just kind of it. But luckily, I get to look young forever, so I guess that's the positive in me being a Negro and not a Caucasian person. Anyway, um, except the negative also is that I'm a short black person, and everybody's vision of a black person is a tall black person. And so it's like, it's okay to be a short white man. It's not okay to be a short black man. I don't even put it like that. Like, you are seen more as a black man, as a man, as a main man, if you are a black man who's taller than 5'7" and who has either a full head of hair or B, a full beard. And both, if you got both, you are ahead of the game. If you got neither, that's okay. You're still tall. If you got one or the other, great. You look fantastic. If you're me, who knows? You kind of gotta make I don't know. But yeah. So here I am once again on the ground. Yeah. So there's that. Okay. So I think that's all I have for now. So to reiterate, I need to pass my LSW exam. From there, I need to decide what the fuck is going on And if I don't have unemployment money coming in, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Really, genuinely. I guess I'm kind of hoping I get unemployment money because I'm not gonna get a job. I know I'm not gonna get a job. I have already. I feel like I missed the hiring window for a number of these places. I think the hiring window is always like between August and like the end of September. And now that it's October, it's like you're not really gonna get hired again until January, maybe. Um, and that's when it's just like that's annoying. I don't know. It's gay. It's fucking gay. So, and I think that's really gonna is what's going to push me into doing that job. Um, that is across the country. I don't know. That's it. But yeah, I think I have nothing else to add to this video. That's already been an hour and 5 minutes. Um, I've said a lot more than I ever thought I would say. I will say that. Um, and I will have an update on things whenever I get an update on things. I don't know. But an update to the channel, at least this channel. So I have 3 channels now. I have this channel, I have a college football channel, and then I have another channel that I haven't decided what I'm going to do with. But I will plug that channel when I have an idea of what I want to do with it, and I probably won't get around to that channel until next year because I don't have any stability currently or any mental. It's like a nuclear bomb. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Figure that fucking shit out later. But that's what's happening with my internet personality efforts. So yeah, 3 different channels. This channel is gonna be whatever this channel is now. College football channel is gonna be obvious, and the other channel I don't know yet. So other than that, that's all there is. I'm going to. I actually don't know what I'm going to do at all. I actually have no idea. If there's any good news, I get to wake up tomorrow and go to the park. Something I really like doing. But yeah. Anywho, that's it. That's all I got. I will see you at some point in the future.